to Folklore Unlocked. I'm Austin, and I'm joined by Ethan.
Hello, everyone.
And this week we are covering the Ghost of Gettysburg, and with this, it's our start for October, even though it's a few days early. But hey, gotta kick off October right,
Might as well start it off early. It's my favorite time of year.
and to give you some background on Gettysburg, if you're not familiar with it, it was the bloodiest battle in the American Civil War that lasted from July 1st to July 3rd. That's supposed to be 1863. And it was between the Union's Army of the Potomac, led by Major General George Meade, and the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia, led by General Robert E. Lee. And like I said, between 46,000 and 51,000 casualties occurred, making it the deadliest battle not only in the Civil War but in American history. And the first reported ghost sightings actually took place during the battle itself, with the Union soldiers reportedly seeing George Washington lead them in battle. Yes, that's former U.S. President and General during the American Revolution, George Washington, who
Uh,
had died 64 years in before the battle in 1799.
Hey, he's just doing his part for the country. That's all.
So apparently George Washington never really got the urge to fight out of him in the American Revolution.
Okay, so the Gettysburg Orphanage is one of the homes to the makeshift hospitals that they used during the war, and also has some ghost happenings there. It also turned into an orphanage after the battle, so it went from a field hospital to, well, not field hospital, but a hospital to an orphanage. And it's said to be haunted by the former headmistress, Rosa J. Carmichael. Yeah, it looks good. And it's said that she had a dungeon in the cellar where she tortured children. I also saw that she had shackles and a pit or something like that. And yeah, just not really a nice lady.
Yeah, and then the Jane Way House was a cottage owned by Mary Virginia Jenny Wade, and Jenny was the only civilian killed during the battle's final day when a stray bullet came through her door and struck her through the heart, killing her pretty much instantly. And she was engaged to Corporal Johnston Jack Skelly, who never learned of her death as he died shortly after her as a prisoner of war. And she was buried and then exhumed and buried next to Skelly, which is why people believe her spirit is restless. And several young children are also seen and heard around the house, causing loud bangs and the feeling of children hanging onto your legs.
Okay, another one of the stories is the Dobbin House Inn, and it was owned by Alexander Dobbin, who is seen around there with a cigar. And it was used as a stopping point on the Underground Railroad, and you can see people and soldiers well, people see soldiers and escaping slaves along with bloodstains on the floor that will disappear by morning. Oh, that's I can just imagine going downstairs and like get something to drink, see blood on the floor, and just freaking out. I could see myself doing that.
Yeah,
Another story is Sach's Bridge. That's how it's said. Legends say that there are three Confederate soldiers that tried to desert, and when they were caught, they were hung on the bridge. And other legends say that it could also be three Confederate spies that were found out and were killed by the Union. And then there's either a case of three men seen around the bridge with cigar smoke and distant cannon fire. And then you can also sometimes feel people touching your shoulder while you're there. And there's just a lot of stuff there that they don't know exactly what happened, but three guys are there that were hung. So
that were Confederate soldiers in some way, shape, or form.
yeah. Another story about the Devil's Den, which apparently was a place where they had artillery and sharpshooters and stuff during the war. And when people go there, they can sometimes hear war drums and gunshots, and others claim that an unseen force, so like a ghost, will grab items from their hands and like throw them. And there's also a ghost around there that is a friendly guy that is wearing a large floppy hat. And he'll sometimes show tourists like, oh, there's a good place for a shot or something like that, like take pictures. And there's even people that said they have taken pictures with him. But after they go either get the pictures developed or look at the pictures, he is not in the pictures. He has never appeared in any of the pictures. It's also a common occurrence around the Devil's Den that cameras and smartphones will like stop working, and also your batteries will be drained. So, pretty cool stuff there.
So yeah, the draining of like batteries is a common occurrence for like ghost sightings. Just not Gettysburg, but around the world.
Yeah, I know. I've seen TV shows and stuff like that, like Ghost Hunters. I think that's one of them, and stuff like that. And I remember them having stuff like that there. Like it's like, oh, our batteries are dead, and it's like, oh, it's ghosts. Yeah. Another one. This is one of my favorite stories that I've heard from here. So it takes place in Gettysburg College, which was a field hospital for both sides during the Civil War. And there were two college employees that got in an elevator, and they push their button, they wait to get on the floor, and the elevator malfunctions and heads straight down to the basement. And the doors open up, and they see a bloody Civil War operating room, and there's like doctors running around trying to save people, and there's dying soldiers on cots and whatnot. And whenever the doctors see the door open and see them, they start walking toward the elevator, and the elevator door is shut, and they go back to their floor. And later on, the two employees come downstairs with the security guard because they're rightfully freaked out, and there's nothing in the basement. It's only like minutes later, and they find nothing. So that's. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like I heard this story and like they made like long term eye contact with the nurse.
Uh,
Like like the nurse they saw them, and like she made like a facial feature that was like, what's happening? It's like I know this is the middle of war, but that is not supposed to happen.
mm-hmm. But yeah, this is like my favorite story I read out of all of them so far.
And then the battlefield itself is that apparitions of ghosts, sounds of cannons, gunfire, moaning, and fighting have all been reported on the battlefield itself. And there's I know two videos around the internet that shows one of a singular Confederate soldier that you can see from like the waist up with the gray shirt uniform and the gray hat bought by some woods that starts to disappear and just suddenly like disappears into nothing. And then there's another video with like the Union flag, drums, like just let that whole get up being seen, and then the guy cutting to get closer and then looking back up with his camera like 5 seconds later and nobody's there anymore. So those are two of the most famous Gettysburg ghost videos out there.
I've seen some photos whenever I was looking at this that like shows like some soldiers around cannons and stuff like that, and like that's what they people say they should be, but it mostly looks like just smudges to me. I mean, you can kind of like, oh, it kind of looks like there might be a person with like a gray like Confederate army stuff, but it's I don't know. I don't quite believe some of the photos I've seen. I didn't see those videos you're talking about though. Okay. So there are some things like in like I don't know if I'd consider these pop culture, but they're like documentaries, books, tours, and stuff like that. And there are 8 separate companies that run ghost tours in Gettysburg. Like at some of them happen only seasonal, and others are like all year round. So I guess if you're around Gettysburg, you can go to a ghost tour if you want to, and they might have some cool stories that we haven't heard of or anything. There's also a book I saw that's called Ghost of Gettysburg: Spirits, Apparitions, Haunting Places, and of the Battlefield, and it's by Mark Nesbitt. Um, there's also a documentary I saw that's called Ghost of Gettysburg that's came out in 2022, which it's on Amazon Video, Amazon Prime, so you can watch it there. Then there's a haunted history episode called Ghost of Gettysburg. That is season 1, episode 2 on the History Channel if you want to watch it there. And I have not watched or read any of these, so I can't say if they're good at all. I just know that they're a thing, and they had Ghost of Gettysburg in the title, so I'm guessing they're about Ghost of Gettysburg.
Money.
Money, exactly, money.
Because why else would there be 8 different companies running ghost tours in Gettysburg alone?
That's the thing. Like, whenever I hear like the ghost tours, I sit here, I'm like, yeah, I don't think you're actually gonna see any ghosts. You can hear the stories and stuff, and you can see if you want to see Gettysburg anyways. It's a good like way to get around. Like, I'm sure they have bus tours and stuff like that. You can see all the sights and everything. So I mean, it's more about the tour and not about the ghosts. I feel like.
It's the Mr. Krabs theory. Money.
Money, money, money.
Do anything to get the money.
Mm.
And then our thoughts and my thought is that there could be some truth to them since so many died violently in and around Gettysburg that there might be ghosts. But again, I think it's probably trick of the lights or just people seeing things that aren't there. So that's my thought.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't really believe in ghosts. Like, there's might be some things I sit here, I'm like, okay, that's creepy and stuff like that, but like, I've never had an encounter that made me believe in ghosts yet. But I think most of the stories are, well, maybe not made up, but they can be explained without ghosts. So, like, especially around there, there's always like reenactments happening and stuff like that. So, I feel like there could be people just walking around in the uniforms, and people might be like, "Oh, it's a ghost," and they like walk past something and they like somewhat disappear. And feel like, "Oh, it was a ghost or something." And I don't know. I don't really believe most of the stories that are happening. I feel like, yes, a lot of violent stuff did happen there, so that would be a place that I feel like ghosts could possibly go up there. But I don't think they are. So.
Yeah, explain why George Washington would show up at Gettysburg.
Okay, that's a real weird one. Like out of left field, there. It's like, why George Washington? Like I could understand if they saw like Abe Lincoln there or something like that. Like if they could see.
That would be before Lincoln was shot in the back of the head. So
Well, I understand that. That would be before that, but like if people now saw Abe Lincoln there, that's what I'm saying. Like not during the battle, but like if they now saw like Abe Lincoln just like sitting there looking across the battlefield or something like that, I'd be like, that was the right time period kind of thing. I'm like, and he was around during that time. He was influential. So I'm like, I could understand people seeing his ghost maybe looking across the battlefield, like pondering or something. Because I did see like this isn't about Gettysburg, but it's like another ghost story about the Civil War that inside the Oval Office, this I think the Queen of the Netherlands and someone else, I think Coolidge was, I don't know, but they saw Abraham Lincoln inside his room, like looking out across the Potomac River, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, yeah, I could see Lincoln being at Gettysburg. I could see him like looking across stuff.
and like another Lincoln ghost story. I know this is supposed to be on Gettysburg, but Lincoln did go to Gettysburg and deliver the Gettysburg address. But like, I it was before he got assassinated. He was walking around the White House, and I guess he heard crying in I forget what room, but he whatever room it was, he went in and checked and saw like a crowd of people around like a casket, and obviously he was president at the time, so he was just like, "Hey, whose funeral is this?" And they were like, President Lincoln's, and he was like, "Wait a minute, I'm still alive." So he wouldn't go and to check the casket, and it was him in there, very much not alive.
Yeah, going to your own funeral, that's definitely something I don't want to like think about. Like just walking into a room, it's like, "Oh, hey, who died?" And it's like, "Oh, it was you." And I just look down, it's like, "Oh, what?"
But like from what I remember, like the, whoever he asked and responded to him was didn't recognize, you know, President Abraham Lincoln as President Abraham Lincoln,
Hmm.
because why would you say to you know a president, oh, it's President whoever is funeral, while you're talking to said president?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And with that, I think that's all we got for this week. And next week, it's going to be some local legends.
I feel bad because even the local legends, I don't even know most of the local legends. I've heard of a couple of them, and whenever I was looking through the slideshows for it, I'm like, I think I'm letting down my local heritage.
But with all that out of the way, thanks for thanks for watching if you're on YouTube. Thanks for listening if you're on Spotify. Drop a like, subscribe, possibly comment, and we'll see you later.
Yep. Thanks for watching, everyone.